What is your answer? How 66?
Is it 79 point something?
79.781.
Yeah.
Because you have to add 18.5 plus 46.1.
Then multiplied by 2.47, then
So
divided
the
by 2.
distance here is
Teacher, I have no idea how I got it as 228. I think I typed in something wrong in my calculator.
What's your answer?
228. It's really illogical.
No, I think you have wrong answer.
So this is the distance. Right. If you use the first one, this one, can I get the same answer?
Yes, we should.
Yeah, we should.
It must be. If it's not, that's mean maybe your calculation or your number of A, the value of A here as an example, which D is V initial T plus half AT squared. If you find that this answer D here, if you try to find, wait. We are here. So if you tried now to put V initial as 18.5 times time T, which is 2.47, plus half times A, which I found it 11.2, times T squared, which is 2.467 squared. If you find, or if you calculate this one, the answer must be approximately 79 point something. If it's not, there's something wrong. Okay? Here, so you can find the answer by any of these equations. Now, do you have any question before we go to the next one?
No, teacher, thank you.
No, thank you.
No, thank you.
Okay, now let's solve this one. In this one here, a car. Now, all of you, as we see before, that all the movement, all the directions here, or all the cars, or the bikes, are walking in straight line. Now, later on, we are talking about fall down, like if you have a ball, and this ball all fall down, or throw a ball. So here, in grade 10, here, we will talk about 4 types of movement. Straight line, like a car moving in a street. Throwing, if there's a ball as an example, falling down. This is a ball, okay? That's falling down. Or you have rock as an example, and you throw it up, reach at a highest or a peak point, then it will be go down. This is the third one. And the fourth one, we will talk about it, inshallah, next semester, which is the curve or the circular motion. And each of these one, it has a different formula. Later on, inshallah, we will talk about it. We will use these equations for this one and for this one, but instead of A, we have to put G. Later on, we will talk about them. So by now, all of these questions by now is talking about car, bike that's moving in a straight line. We didn't talk about any object that's moving vertically or throwing, like make a curve, or moving in a circular motion. Like if you have a can and you play with a can, you are here as an example, and with your hand you have a can, and you move this can, make a circle upward. Like this we called it centripetal force. This one later on we will talk about it. Until now, just we are talking about the straight line. So for the straight line here, this is a question. There's a bike, accelerates uniformly from rest. No, we solved this one. I want to know what's happened with the slides. Ya Allah. This one here. A dragster accelerates to a speed of 112 meters per second over a distance of 398 meters. Determine the acceleration, assume that it is uniform. Sorry, what is the information that's given to me?
The initial, V final, and distance.
D and V final initial.
And distance, yes. And he asked me now to find the acceleration. So
We can use the second equation, which relates V final, V initial, acceleration, and distance.
here, remember me, here we have this, remind me, sorry, there's a question, I skip it. I will solve this one, but I will go back to it. So here now, there's a car, or a dragster, it accelerates uniformly. So I want now to find A. With a speed of 112 meters per second over a distance. So what is the V initial here? And what is the V final?
V initial is 0. V final is 112 meters per second.
He told me that he started from the rest.
But it accelerates to a speed, so can't we assume it?
To a speed of 112 meters per second. Ah, yes, it's accelerate to a speed. So the V initial here is 0 and the V final here is 112. It's accelerate to a speed. So it starts from the rest until 112 with a distance of 398 meters.
Teacher, isn't 112 a time?
No, it's meter per second. It's a speed or a velocity.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Now, I want to find the acceleration. So which equation helped me here?
The second one.
The second one.
The
Yeah.
second one, thank you. V final squared is equal to V initial squared plus 2AD. V final squared is 112 squared equal V initial squared, which is 0 squared, plus 2 times A times 398 meter. Then 112 squared is 112,544 is equal to 398 times 2. It is 796A. Divide by 796, divide by 796. So 12,544 divided by 796. So A here is 15.75 meter per second square. Is it right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now let's go back to this question here now. And this one here, a car traveling at 22.4 meter per second skids to a stop at 2.55 seconds. So what is the initial velocity here? It starts with what?
22.4 meters
and
per
it stopped
second.
at.
So
Wait, one by one. Yes, حنين, يلا. لا تسوسن ولا روز. يلا حنين.
So the V initial is 22.4 meters per
So the
second.
V initial here is 22.4. Skids to stop. So what is the V final here now?
It's unknown.
Let's stop.
teacher, it's 0 meters per second.
If it is stop,
0.
it's 0. At a T time, at
2.55
seconds. So the time here is 2.55.
But teacher, how it's 0?
It is stop.
So it is deceleration. The value should be negative.
So determine the skidding distance of the car.
So we can use the fourth equation.
Let's found here and distance and the acceleration too. I want now you to find both of them.
And the
So
first
we're
one,
going to use the fourth equation.
I want to find D. So which one helped me?
Fourth.
The fourth equation.
So V initial plus V final over 2 times T. Then
So it's
V
going to be 22.4 over 2.
22.4 plus 0 over 2 times 2.5. 5. So 22.4 divided by 2 multiplied by 2.55.
It's 28.56.
28.56. What is the unit here? Look at the unit.
Meters.
Meters.
it's meter over seconds before 2.
No, it is meter only.
No, it's distance.
Now I want Habiba. Habiba, I want you to find the acceleration.
We will use the first equation.
Yellow it. Here is 28.
No, the second one.
I want now from you to help me to find the acceleration. Yeah. So let's use the second one. Okay, yeah. V final squared is V initial squared plus 2AD. V final here is what? 0. V initial is 22.4 plus 2 times A. Yes, Habiba, where are you? Yalla. And D is what? 28.56. Is it right?
Yes.
What do you have to do now?
22.4 plus 20
No,
plus
first,
2.
22.4 squared, which is 501.76 plus 2 times 28.56, which is 57.12a. Then let's move this one to the second term. So it will be negative 501.76 equal 57.12a.
Divide by 57.12. So it will
So a is will be 8 or negative 8.78 meter per second squared. Now, who can tell me why A is negative? And physically, not
Because
It is
Because
accelerating,
it
coming
will,
to a stop.
because it's
yeah.
stopping, it's accelerating.
yes, because it starts with a velocity, a number, I mean, then it is stop, so it's make like deceleration. So it's because of that the A here is negative. But if it starts from rest and the velocity is increasing, it accelerates. Here it's not accelerates, it's decelerate. Because of that, the sign here is negative.
Because they say it stop, right, teacher?
Yes, because it's stop. Now, airplane lands with an initial velocity. So what is the initial of V initial?
70 meters per second.
20.0.
And then decelerate at 1.5 meter per second square. This 1.5, what does it represent?
It's it's the acceleration.
So what is the sign of the acceleration? It will be
Negative.
Negative.
Thank you. So here it has a negative sign. So take care of this word. For 40 seconds. So what is the time? This
Time
40 seconds.
now he asked me now
40 seconds.
V final. What is the value of V final? Hello, which one can I use? V final plus V initial plus A times T. V initial is 70. A is negative 1.5.
1.5
T is
times
40 equal V final. Negative, and don't forget here you have first multiply, then add. So 40 times 1 is 40, 40 times 0.5 is 20, so negative 60,
Negative 60.
70 is V final.
So final
So V
velocity
final
is
here is what? Is 10 meter per second. Is it right?
yeah.
Yes.
If I like give me 1 second, okay? I want to think about the question. If I told you without a question, okay? If I told you that the acceleration here is 2.4 meter per second square, and the distance is 0.7 kilometer, and the V initial here it is 30 meter per second. Find V final. Okay, here, if I told you that the acceleration is 2.4, D is 0.7 kilometer, V initial is 30, and V final, I have to find it.
We can say V final squared is equal to V initial squared plus 280.
Yeah, I'm solving
So I
it.
will use this one. Now, V final, I have to find it. Keep it as V final squared equal. V initial squared, it is what? It is 30 squared plus 2. What is the acceleration?
2.4.
Now, what is the distance?
0.7.
No, 0.7 kilometer. Look at the units of the numbers here. So 0.7 kilometer. So what is the distance? So what is the distance now? In meter, because all of the seconds here are in meter.
700,
So 700
meters.
meters.
So it will be 700, yes. So 700. So 2.4 times 700 times 2. Which is 3,360 plus 900. So V final squared is 4,260.
4,260.
This is what now? V final squared. Alhamdulillah, the numbers are correct because it's from my mind. Okay, so V final squared is 4,260. So what is the value of V final now?
It's 65.26.
You take the square root of the answer, which is positive negative 65.2. Now, can the velocity be negative?
No, so it will be positive.
No, so only I pick the positive number. So I say
Only when it decelerates.
no, the acceleration.
Yeah, I mean like only
This
when it
is
decelerates, it will be negative.
No. The V, the velocity. Can you find the in the speedometer of the car? Can you read that the velocity is negative? It starts from
No.
zero, so it's be positive. But the acceleration, it could be negative. Only the acceleration.
It will be the deceleration.
Only the acceleration can be negative. The time cannot be. The V cannot be. Also the distance. There's no negative distance. Okay, now is it clear? By the way, these
Yeah, thank
four
you.
equations, you deal with it like math. And some of the questions, you find it like quadratic equations. You have to find the value using the quadratic, and you have to deal it with the quadratic equations, like in math, like here also, like how like x squared equal 4. So x, it could be positive, negative 2. Here also, you did the same. Now, is it clear?
Teacher, what is the unit?
Yeah.
Oh, is it meter per second? Sorry, I forgot to write it. What also? Now, inshallah, and next Wednesday, we will talk about the fall of the object, when the object is falling. So I will not use these equations. I will use equations like this, or I mean that I will clear, I will cancel the V initial or V final, and I will put A instead of G, even for falling object or for throwing the object. So these equations will be changed. These four equations
Teacher,
only for the straight line movement. Yes?
our quiz, will it be on Sunday?